how to radically change your life, get out of despair and anxiety, hopelessness, fear, any negative thought formations that you have that are suffering from, and then how to find a purpose for your life that impacts not only yourself, but your family and the world. That is what Vitale Total Fitness, folks, is all about. That's why I started this. I actually went on a personal transformation myself. Started with physical fitness, getting in shape, uh, trying to watch my nutrition and things, yes. And then I got passionate about that, but I realized I was still struggling with a lot of mental thoughts and feelings that I could not shake. Things that were even having an impact on my marriage. It was, when you're lost in your thoughts and you can't control them, you may have anybody can have a different problem. It may be anxiety, it may be depression, it may be racing mind. But I'm talking about when you can't stop the brain. That is a serious deal. You can look great on the outside, but if the inside isn't right, then what good is it, right? So I began myself, I went through my own transformation to go back to something I'd learned a while back in the past: mindfulness meditation, mindful breathing. A lot of people try it, they treat it like it's kind of a short-term fix or something, but this time I went all in. And I'm just going to tell you that made a change once it became an integral part of my day and my life. It is something I live with all the time, not necessarily just prolonged sitting meditation, but the idea of constantly returning to your breath, constantly returning to the present moment, and focusing on that breath as the anchor to the present moment. Because you see, all of these mental formations we suffer from, anxiety, let's say, it's fear of the future. Depression, it's ruminating in the past. Those things can't survive when you're in the present moment. Now, you can also have times where you're struggling with stress because your present moment is stressful. I teach about that as well, how to handle what Eckhart Tolle has said is the isness of the moment. Yes, that's something that you do too. But it's not just that. There's a whole purpose to this, and I just had to rant and get this out today. So I'm starting with the exercise. Now I'm going into this mindfulness meditation. I'm learning how to quiet these voices in my head, to learn to separate myself from them, to find some stillness and peace in the present moment. It's truly amazing. And then I'm noticing that as I'm doing this, my power of concentration is growing. My ability to focus on something is growing. And so then I begin to remember certain verses that I've heard, certain, all that we are is the sum of our thoughts, right? Things like that. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And I began to go back to something I had tried in the past. Maybe you've heard it called manifestation, the law of assumption, the idea that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, then it can achieve. And I began to put that to the test, and I'm here to tell you that when you have all of your life aligned, you've got your physical, your nutrition, you've got your mind, your mentalness, your present moment, and then you begin to focus on what it is you want, then I truly believe, as Jesus said, that anything is possible for you, for the one who believes. That if you believe you have already received what you asked for in prayer, it'll be yours. I just think that whether you're religious or not is beside the point, but that is the ability of a human being who has been made in the image of the creator of the universe, that we're part of that. And I began to take that seriously, folks. And so, yes, it's wonderful to have a happy life, to feel peace within, and then begin to manifest the things that you enjoy. Maybe you need a new home. Maybe you need a better job. Maybe you need a loving relationship. Those are all beautiful, wonderful things. But here's where I wanted to go tonight. And that is with the outflow of all of this. You see, what makes this mission that I'm on now different, it's not just about your physical health. It's not just about helping you be in the present moment. It's not just about helping you create a life of abundance and fullness and success. It is all of those things. But it is also that I noticed when you are full of joy and peace, truly, and you're living your life, it has an impact on those around you. That's what the ripple effect is all about. And then it begins to change them, and they have a ripple effect. And then I remembered a study, because as a psychology major, I remember this, that it was called the tipping point. And the idea was that if 16% of a people in a population will embrace an idea or a way of life or something, then the other 84% will come on board. It only takes 16% of that population, in other words, to effect a change on the whole. You don't have to have everybody. And I began to think, now wait a minute. What am I doing with the rest of my life? If it's true that I can have anything that I want, anything I ask for in prayer, that nothing is impossible, I began to say, you know what? What's the greatest thing that I can possibly think of? And that is this: a world filled with love, kindness, and compassion. And I mean this serious as a heart attack, folks. I'm not talking about, oh, world peace like it's the answer to some, I'm on a pageant or something and they ask me what my desire is, and I say, oh, world peace, not naivete, right? Not wishful thinking. But the reality that world peace is nothing but the sum of every individual person on the planet being at peace. And if I can find this peace, and I can teach others through my program and things to find peace, and that can have a ripple effect to others, then who's to say, with faith and intention and application, really putting yourself forth at this, that we can't get to 16% of the population? All things are possible. Now, everyone that's scoffing at this, thinking, oh great, this is just naivete again, whatever, I just want you to think of that. You may be a person that even professes faith. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what Jesus said, right? If you want to believe Jesus, then he's the one that said that whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have already received it and it will be yours. Okay? That whatever you ask for, okay, that nothing will be impossible for you. And folks, I'm here to own that promise. And so I have set forth my dream, my vision, is to continue to help as many people as I can with my program. Yes, I have a one-on-one program, and I'm helping folks with that, but I've also created a community group on School that's very inexpensive for the masses that can't afford that, $11 a month, and I have a reason for that amount, but anyway, I'm going to be constantly pumping my material into that School community group. So you can go to school, SKOOL.com/Vitale, VITALE, for all. Okay, I'll have the link in there. Well, if you go to the link in my my bio, my profile, you can get to it through there. You just need to scroll down the page. Find the Sanctuary is what I'm calling it too. That's basically a community group, but it's so much more than that. It's a place where you can go and learn the techniques that I teach, even in my one-on-one. I'm going to make them available, folks, because if we can all find our joy, our peace, that's the greatest gift we can give ourselves. Happiness, happier homes, happier relationships, happier lives, happier communities, happier cities, happier states, happier countries, happier world. So I'm asking you guys to really consider this. Now, most of people, according to that statistic in the tipping point, 84% are going to dismiss this automatically. Probably at first 90+%, 95%. But if you're part of the 1% even, if I can reach just one of you tonight with my message and my vision, and you'll join me, you'll go and join the School community with me, I'm going to be loading that up. We can talk on there. We can do live weekly Zoom meetings together. We can plan. We can encourage one another. Folks, what if world peace was actually entirely possible, which it is, because it's all things are possible, and it's an all thing, and we never did anything about it?